Today I have an awesome guest here today. He's a gem in this area, and I'm so glad that he's here today. Today we have Mr. Keita here with me. How are you doing, Mr. Keita?
I'm doing quite well.
Fine.
Glad to be here.
Fine. I met Mr. Keita some years back, and I just thought he was just such an interesting individual. He has so much that he can talk about, so much that he knows about. And so today we're going to get into a little bit of that. Okay, so Mr. Keita, could you tell us just a little bit about yourself?
Originally, I'm from New York.
Okay.
Brooklyn is the borough. There I attended my elementary school, junior high school, went to Staten Island Community College, York College. One took me to the liberal arts, non-science. My latter years at York College, I took up pre-medical physics. Mathematics was a tremendous love for me. Then shortly after, I attended military. I was drafted in the 60s. Spent time in France, in Germany, honorable discharge, and engaged in a little of art. Went to a private art school, studied there for a little while, for a couple of years, and I became an artist. Sold some paintings on the streets in Brooklyn and in Greenwich Village, New York. So that is a synopsis of my contribution as a citizen of this great country. And I'm very, very proud to do an interview and given the history of my background. Glad to do that and to attend.
Okay. That was awesome. That was an awesome synopsis. That was so interesting. You've done a lot. You signed up a lot in like a minute. You went all across the country doing different things, art school. That's interesting. I know you spoke of activism. Tell me a little bit about how you got into activism.
Sure. During my military obligations, prior to engaging in my military duties, I would go back as far as 1962. There was a drive and a movement that was about to engage, that was taking shape all over the country. The growing degree of political organizations, the movement of Martin Luther King, Southern Christian Leadership Conference, CORE with Dr. Floyd McKissick, Congress of Racial Equality, and the sit-ins that started its debut in North Carolina, and many organizations, the Black Panther movement, and they all were saying something very concrete and relevant. At the time, they didn't agree with the violence that was being shown to Black Americans here in the South, and in the North we had usurping of the law by some of the police groups, law enforcers, and they were supposed to take an oath to protect and serve the community. But some got a little overzealous and started committing an act of atrocious atrocities against the citizens up in the North. So we decided, me and others decided to come together collectively and form an organization called the Black Union. Primarily and principally were constructed and we got involved with protesting and assisting those in the community that needed assistance, and assuring that we weren't going to let the police just have their way without witnesses that we come forward to serve and protect. I remember I engaged in a couple of moves that police wanted to make an arrest with a young man on Times Square, and it was on 8th Avenue and 40th Street. I'll never forget. I was accompanying my lady friend. We were going to see a movie there, and heard some arguments. Police threatening a young man that he was going to do harm if he didn't volunteer to come with them. The young man questioned why would he need to come with the police when he hadn't done anything significantly wrong to violate the oath of the country, the Constitution of the country. And so the police threatened to pull out his gun and do some harm, and me and others, we gathered and we advocated that if there was going to be some violence, he's going to have to use violence on all of us collectively. And so that's when we protect and assist the young man who was brought on a little small minor charge, disorderly conduct. That was the extent of it. Nothing severe that warrant that he should be brought into act of violence of the police against him. And so we stood there as a catalyst to protect and assist him. And other events I could tell you that I've engaged to assure that my open and honest involvement was to assist and protect the black people in the communities. Back then, we weren't interested in people coming in to destroy and disrupt our way of life. And that, I wish, was still active today, but unfortunately, a change of culture today.
Okay. So, that was awesome. And speaking of activism, also, you told me, or I've heard that you were a Mayoral Candidate in Albany here. Tell me how you got in that and what made you want to, be a candidate.
Of course. I remember I was here for Tommy Coleman. When I first moved here. He was the sitting mayor. And I discussed something with him that the South Side, the East Side, principally were the two wards that I felt was significantly underserved and needed some assistance as far as stabilizing conditions in the neighborhoods, because after all, these are taxpayers too who lived in those communities. And so I felt that maybe the next mayor after Tommy Coleman would be Willie Adams. Willie Adams had 8 years. Tommy Coleman had 12. And then Dorothy Hubbard, 8 years. So we're looking at roughly about 28 or 29 years right there of the community still maintained being underserved. So I decided to cast myself in the arena, the political arena, and took up the challenge and the campaign with my proposal to want to do something that was more significant for the South Side: supermarkets, economic development, aspirations to maintain these conditions permanently.
I also know that you're into the arts. You're an artist, and also you are a musician. Tell me about the instrument you play and a little bit about your art.
Yes, the art started from Art Students League of New York, across the street from Carnegie Hall. I studied there for a couple of years. Dr. Fogarty, portrait painting in oil, and majored in that with him. And I did that for a couple of years. Took my art on the streets of Brooklyn and Manhattan and sold some of my works to international art lovers, and I enjoyed it. Now with my amputation, I serve with a problem of having diabetes condition, and I've had the unfortunate pleasure of neuropathy, the damage of the nerve, poor circulation, and loss of toe, right, the big toe, all the other toes subsequently, and then the loss of my leg. And it started in 2006 on my left leg. 2 years hence, the same occurred on my right leg, the toes, and then below the knee. So I'm a bilateral amputee, and I told the personnel at Dublin VA Hospital my interest would be to walk on 2 prostheses. I didn't want to be on a cart, automobile, or mobile cart. I wanted to walk, and so that was the subsequent given to me. And I enjoy myself. I do what I must do. I go from place to place. I have a hand control driving mechanism installed in my vehicle. So I travel to Dublin. I travel to Florida. I travel to New York. I travel Alabama. And I enjoy my living conditions. And so I am a musician. I play conga drums. I've been playing for about 63 years, something like that. I'm currently with a group called the Southern Art Music Ensemble. We don't have all of our original personnel, but I'm the 6th member of the group. We play Latin jazz principally, and primarily we focus. And we're looking forward in a couple of promoting campaigns of the group, and we do have quality music. All the personnel, as myself, we are mature men, and we carry out the quality aspect of our musical arrangement. People really love to hear our music. As I said, I'm a percussionist, and I play some conga drums, 3 primarily, and I like to believe that I'm one of the best in these areas. So I hope to get to see you. Anytime you see me, don't hesitate to say hello. And I'd be more than glad to share wonderful common interests with you. You tell me what your interests are, I tell you mine, and we may be able to see where we can gravitate and pull off together. So take my advice that things are wonderful. Don't give up. If you are an amputee, as myself, life still goes on. And stay very informed, and keep true to the form of your spirit. And wonderful things will come in return to you, but never submit to defeat. Don't give in to defeat. And all wonderful things will be gratiated to you, and wonderfully thank that we all can see this moment in life in glory in our contemporary exercises and witness the beauty and splendor of living again, even after succumb to the condition of diabetes, amputation, that some of us will have to live through. But what I don't want, and that is for any of us to give up with hopelessness, thinking that life has not been fair with him. Don't do that. That's not fair to the spirits of your nature and to those who preceded you. Give them a glorious thanks. And don't be disingenuous. Give them the greatness of your contributions. Never submit to defeat, as I said. and stay strong. As you can tell that I'm a strong man. I still have a desire to continue to perform with my group and paint more compositions, and one day I may become a teacher to teach the significance and values of art. And
great.
I'm looking forward. And thank you so much for this time. And it's a beautiful, excellent Sunday, early evening. The sun is out. The temperature is briskly wonderful. I would love for it to stay this way all year around. But nonetheless, be happy, be joyful, be merriment, and be affable. All of those are good qualities that God has blessed all of us to have those choices. And if you desire to do wrong and violate the good, then you know the place you will be put, to jail. We don't want that. It's too beautiful and peaceful outside than to go to jail over foolishness. But stay well. And I appreciate this moment and the time that we shared together. Thanks again. So long.
All right, thank you again, Mr. Keita. Like I say, it's so much information that you have to, talk about, and we just don't have enough time today. But hopefully, we will get back here and we will go a little bit more in depth with Mr. Keita. We just thank you so much, Mr. Keita. Thank you for your service in the military. We thank you for your contribution in the community and activism as well. And just thank you for inspiring all of those who you have inspired and who all you will inspire. So thank you for that, and thank you for this interview. We thank you for the viewers who were watching, and we just hope you have a great day, all right? Bye-bye.
Thank you.